In this video, we are going to arrange our pattern pieces around our avatar. As you can see right now, we have this dress pattern with sleeves and with a collar that is here in our 3D window. It has not been simulated yet, but it is sewn together, which we can tell because we can see the threads, these colorful lines here connecting our pattern. It's really important to arrange our pattern pieces around our avatar because while it is sewn together and our pattern is done right now, if I were to turn on simulation mode, the pieces would just move together and be sewn around whatever happens to be in the middle of them when they reach each other. So I'll do that just so you can see what happens. So I'm going to turn on simulation mode by clicking the space bar. And you can see my pattern doesn't know what to do. It just kind of like falls off to the side and it just sews together with nothing in the middle of it. So that's why we want to always arrange our pattern pieces around our avatar. And to get my pattern back to how it was, I'm just going to click the Reset 2D Arrangement button right here, which is that t-shirt cut into 4 squares. That will arrange my pattern in the 3D window to match how I have it here in the 2D window. So I'm going to click that. And now we're back set up. I'm just going to also turn off the threads on my pattern 3D window viewing area so that I don't see all these lines here. Might make it easier, but sometimes it can also be helpful to have it on too, so you can do whatever you want. But if you do want to turn them off, you can go over to the 3D window menu that's on top of the 3D window and hover over the garment display menu, which looks like that t-shirt icon. And I'm just going to go down to show threads and turn that off. Now I can see my pattern without the threads. But I am going to go into my garment rendering style and turn on textured surface mode instead of thick textured surface mode. That way I can see the shadow on the back of my patterns to tell which is the right side of my fabric and which is the wrong side. That way I can make sure that I have all my pattern pieces facing the correct direction, which is helpful to have textured surface mode on while you're arranging your pattern and sometimes while you're sewing it too, but then you can turn it back off after that. But I'm going to turn that on. And now I can tell based on that shadow on the back of our fabric, what's the front and what's the back. So to arrange our pattern pieces around our avatar, I'm going to move this one out of the way so we can see our avatar better. And we just need to turn on Show Arrangement Points, which is underneath our avatar display menu here on top of our 3D window. It looks like that person icon right here. And we're just going to go to Show Arrangement Points and click on that. That will give us these blue dots around our avatar, but the shortcut to turn these on and off is also Shift F on our keyboard, so you can click that to easily turn them on or off. Now to use these, whenever I have a pattern that I want to arrange, I'm just going to click on it in the 3D window or 2D window, and then I can hover over any of these arrangement points in the 3D window, and it will give me a silhouette or a visual of what that arrangement or what that pattern would look like if it were arranged on that pattern arrangement point, kind of wrapped around the avatar a little bit. So I just want to place it on the arrangement point that's closest to where it really needs to go. This one looks good from the front view. It's a little bit higher than how it will actually be, but the one below it, you can see it's overlapping with the avatar's legs a lot more. And the goal of arranging our pattern pieces is to get our pattern pieces as close to the avatar as where they will actually go, with it overlapping the avatar and other pattern pieces the least. So I'm just going to select this one right here. But then we can always manually go in and just use the gizmo tool to drag it down just a little bit. And that amount of overlap right here, that is totally fine. More overlap can give you problems when you're simulating, but small amounts are okay. Now I'll go on to my sleeve, and these sleeves were created with symmetric editing, so when I arrange one, it's also going to arrange the other two. So I'm just going to place it here on this arrangement point at the top of the arm, and it places both of them. And then I'll rotate around to the back of my avatar, and arrange the back of our dress too. So I've clicked on it and then I'm just hovering over these arrangement points to see which one looks the best. And I'm going to click on that one and then just manually bring it down a little bit. You can see there's some overlap here, but not a lot. And then we also have the collar. So for the front collar, I'm going to click on that piece and just move it off to the side so I can see a little bit better. And I'm going to select these side pieces right here with the side arrangement points. And then we have our back collar. So I'll click on that pattern piece. And I'm going to select that back arrangement point right there. The reason that I find it helpful to have textured surface mode on so that we can see the back shadow of the fabric is sometimes it could be easy to accidentally put the back pattern in the front or the front pattern in the back or get the sleeves mixed up, and that would be much easier to tell that mistake when we can tell the wrong side of the fabric. So we can rotate around and check and see if everything looks good, and our pattern looks like it's good. We got everything arranged. If you wanted to turn on show threads again, this could be a way to check to make sure you got everything arranged how it should be. For example, if I accidentally had placed this sleeve on this arm, you'd see that the thread lines would be going through the avatar really twisted, but that's why having threads on can be helpful. That way you can catch that, but I'm going to switch it back so now they look good. And I'm going to turn off our arrangement points by clicking Shift F. And now, since our garment is arranged, we can turn on simulation mode by clicking spacebar. And everything looks good. Also with arrangement points, I'm going to turn our arrangement points back on. And there's a couple of arrangement points that are a little bit trickier or more particular. And that's for when you're arranging sleeves or pants. So our sleeves worked out really well on this example, but if we were to have long sleeves, I'm just going to drag that and make it longer. It's really important to have the sleeve on the arrangement point, because if we didn't, it could be much easier for the sleeve to sew around something that's not the arm, and it would be really hard to get it around the arm. Same thing for pants, the arrangement point is really important. So it would be important for me to select the right one versus one that's a little bit too high. You can see that can cause some trouble simulating. It can eventually make it there okay, but sometimes it might not. And then for pants, you'll want to do the same thing. I'm selecting one of these arrangement points here on the leg for the front, and then same thing for the back.